Hey everybody, welcome to episode 163 of Is This Thing Working? Here we are Monday morning. How's it going, Denise?
I'm glad to be here with you to talk to everybody, but it was a wild weekend.
Wasn't it?
And anyway, it's been that kind of weekend. I'm glad to be here with you. We do have breaking news.
Yep, good breaking news.
Judge Cannon dismissed President Trump's document case today.
Awesome.
First thing this morning. So that's really a good tune to start off on this morning. And then another crazy thing happened. Our cold open that we always use, because Steve Bannon uses MSNBC. Guess what? They weren't on today. And I wonder what's going on with that.
The morning slow.
The morning slow. MSNBC, they're crazy. From the inside paper, MSNBC has pulled Morning Joe show off the air after Trump rally shooting. They reportedly worried the Morning Joe crew might say something inappropriate about the Trump assassination attempt. This is from CNN. What drives me crazy about that is the fact that CNN all weekend said all kinds of inappropriate stuff about Trump and blamed MAGA supporters and all kinds of things. But CNN wants to come on here and point this out about MSNBC.
Because it's a competition factor between them two. You know it is, to see who's going to be the biggest liar of the week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, conservative allies of President Trump are pointing to rhetoric from Democrats as creating a hostile environment leading up to Saturday's assassination attempt of the former president.
Yep. Among them are U.S. Senator J.D. Vance, who said, "Today is not just some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs." That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. And then MTG come out with a statement, and I had to agree with her on it. And she said that the Democrats and the media are to blame for every drop of blood spilled today. For years and years, they demonized him and his supporters. Today, someone finally tried to take the leader of our America first and the greatest president of all time. And I agree with her. For years, they've been doing this over and over and over.
Yes, but Joe Biden comes out with, he was busy all weekend, just totally on top of everything. He had how many press conferences at
3,
off
I think.
The cuff, all of a sudden?
I think 3, yeah. 1 Saturday evening, 2 yesterday.
I mean, it's amazing to me that he can continue to come out now and talk to the press and everybody else when for 3.5 years he talked to nobody. And now all of a sudden he's this important man, So listen to him and what he had to say.
After this watch.
I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering. And we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired. And he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, Don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, when you spoke to President...
Yeah, I just wanted to say and point out that his campaign also announced it was pausing all outbound communications and working to pull our television ads as quickly as possible. So yeah, they were planning on continuing on with the rhetoric.
You bet they were. And that's what I was going to point out. You know, we sat here and we listened to him. And, you know, and I'm trying to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. You know, and when he started out nice. And he mentioned what had happened, and he mentioned how horrible that it was, and that it was a tragedy, and that there was a life lost, an innocent life lost, and that there was other people that were injured, and that we needed to get together and pray for those people and lift those people up. And I was all for him, and man, he could have stopped right then and there and walked away. And honestly, I would have, you know me, honestly, I would have said, man, the guy's right. That's presidential. But he couldn't help himself, could he?
No, he can't help himself.
Man.
You know why? Because they know right now they've lost.
Well, yeah.
They've lost everything. And for him to sit there and say, well, my FBI is going to, look into everything. We're going to have an independent investigation.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, sir, your FBI is the one that's been crushing the MAGA.
That's exactly
the MAGA
right.
and Trump supporters.
You know, he comes out, like I say, once he gets past the first part, then he begins the hypocrisy and the lies just start, immediately.
Yes.
He brags about bringing these people together, that, we've convened this group of people, Kamala Harris and Christopher Wray and Merrick Garland and all this. He brags about bringing together the exact same people he's been weaponizing against us for 4 years. And
Yes.
he brags about getting them together, and then that they're going to come in and they're going to investigate. Hey, don't you worry about the motive of the shooter. You don't worry about that. Hey, nothing to see over here. You just shut up and sit over there and be quiet. We're going to come together, and we're going to figure out what the story's going to be, and we're going to come out and tell you. Man, I don't trust anything any of these people got to say, man.
Yeah, I know, me neither. And Trump he called for unity Saturday night and again Sunday morning after he was shot in the right ear, as everyone knows, at a weekend rally near Pittsburgh. But Trump's defense attorney, in his February 2021 impeachment trial, they played a 4-minute video compilation of comments about the former president. Here, listen to what they had to say. This is just a reminder.
Impeach him every day of the week for anything he does.
That same hatred and anger has led House managers to ignore their own words and actions and set a dangerous double standard. The House managers spoke about rhetoric, about a constant drumbeat of heated language. Well, as I'm sure everyone watching expected, we need to show you some of their own words.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
You got to be ready to throw a punch. Well, you have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have punched him in the face.
I feel like punching him.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now. Okay.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Please, get up in the face of some Congress people.
People will do what they do.
I want to tell you, Lord Judge, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
There you go. This goes back to what NTG said.
Exactly. And it goes back to why MSNBC is not on the TV right now. I mean, because the rhetoric that has come out of our mainstream media and the media that we're supposed to get our news and we're supposed to trust, to tell us the truth, has been telling lies about a man that they just don't want to be president. And they will continue to do this to anybody that tries to step up and get rid of what's going on behind the scenes. And why don't we know who is actually running the country? So I don't believe for 1 minute that these people all of a sudden want unity with you and with the MAGA base and with Trump, because that would never have happened.
No, it wouldn't have. And Natalie Winter's come out with one of the best statements of this morning. And when I read it, I immediately thought Steve Bannon completely. Because just like what we're talking about with the rhetoric, Biden is to blame. Joe Biden is to blame because and I've said this already, 2 that I know of State of the Unions, possibly 3, maybe all 4, but 2 of those State of the Union addresses, he spent his entire energy telling the country that half of the country was domestic violent extremists, that we were bad for the country, that we were an existential threat, that we were all of these things. He stood right there and did it. And this is what Natalie said about this. She goes, if Biden were almost assassinated, do you think the Democrats would be pushing unity? Hell no.
No, they would not.
What do you know the truth to be? What they've shown. People can talk all day long, but their actions always speak louder than their words. She goes on to say this. They'd be weaponizing the full force of the government to crack down on MAGA. The media would be blaming this on Trump 24/7. Big tech censorship would be in overdrive, and they'd probably be laying the groundwork for delaying the election. You can't have unity with people who want you dead and your movement crushed. Amen.
100%. Natalie Winters reminds us where the focus is. And what does Steve Bannon always tell us every single day?
What's your task and your purpose?
What's your task and your purpose? And he did come out with a statement after President Trump was shot at his rally in Pennsylvania. He said, tonight's event told everyone this is the single biggest worry I have at close range, at a rally or a crowd. And he has been worried about his rallies. He said he just stands up there and, he's a target. And then he goes on to say, horrible, horrible, horrible. Thank God he wears the armor of God. President Trump's first interview since the assassination attempt was with the Washington Examiner, Selena Zito. And she says, for the headline, Trump rewrites Republican convention speech to focus on unity, not Biden. Now, I was going to go ahead and I was going to read this world exclusive article, which I believe is very important and everyone should read. But instead, I'm going to turn his words from True Social into the importance of what we need to remember. He says, as we move forward in uniting our nation after the horrific events on Saturday, this dismissal of the lawless indictment in Florida should be just the first step, followed quickly by the dismissal of all the witch hunts, the January 6th hoax, in Washington, D.C.,
Right.
the Manhattan DA zombie case, the New York AG scam case, fake claims about a woman I never met, a decades-old photo in a line with her then husband does not count, and the Georgia Perfect phone call charges. The Democrat Justice Department coordinated all of these political attacks, which are an election interference conspiracy against Joe Biden's political opponent, me. Let us come together to end all weaponization of our justice system and make America great again.
We would like to welcome our new sponsor to Is This Thing Working? So help us welcome Cornbread Hemp. Their mission is to draw on Kentucky's 250-year legacy of growing hemp, as well as the state's unique climate and soil, to manufacture the highest quality cannabis products available in America. They proudly offer full-spectrum, USDA organic CBD products with up to 2 milligrams of THC per serving. Their plants are grown in what's known as the Bluegrass Basin, which produces the highest quality hemp alongside the best bourbon and fastest racehorses. Cornbread Hemp is one of the very few, if not only, CBD brands in America who exclusively use the hemp flower to create their CBD extract, called Flower Only CBD, and they want the world to know. In a side-by-side comparison to a market leader, Cornbread Hemp checks all the boxes. They are USDA certified organic, flower only extracted, full spectrum, free of artificial colors and preservatives, and they are third-party lab tested.
Cornbread Hemp supports me on my wellness journey. I love cornbread hemp gummies. I especially enjoy the watermelon gummies. After work, when I feel overwhelmed, I take a gummy and I go for a relaxing and calming swim. So make sure you get you some cornbread hemp gummies. I take them daily. So whether you choose to take cornbread hemp gummies, oils, lotion, or whatever you choose, take them daily and discover a delicious way to improve your health and well-being. And if you're having problems with winding down for the day, try out Cornbread Hemp Sleep Gummies or the lotion, which I use every night to soothe my joint discomfort. Please check out Cornbread Hemp by going to cornbreadhemp.com right now for a 30% off your initial purchase of any products on the website. Again, go to cornbreadhemp.com and use promo code ITTW for this special offer. Remember, you get 30% off, promo code ITTW.
And we want to state that these are our opinions and there are assertions. And if you agree with us, you tell your friends and you share the show. And if you don't agree with us, you tell your friends and you share the show. Also, stomp that like button. Please follow us and subscribe wherever you see the name Is This Thing Working? Our podcast is available for download on all social media platforms and all platforms like Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, download that Rumble app so you can follow the show and you'll receive instant notifications when we go live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you. So let's get on with the rest of the show.
You know, on Saturday's show that we put out on the Texas Brief, it was about the hurricane and the disaster that's gone on and the people in Houston that been devastated by this heat, no electricity, and the fighting back and forth between the government and everything. But on the Texas scorecard on Thursday, Lieutenant Governor Patrick came out and he said, documentation proves Biden lied about granting major disaster declaration. The White House documentation shows that President Biden ended the major disaster declaration required for FEMA aid the same day he granted it.
So he treated it nothing like a photo op.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah.
The article goes on to say that Dan Patrick has levied accusations against Biden, alleging that the president has misled him, Governor Abbott, and the people of Texas by ending a major disaster declaration the same day he granted it. The FEMA agency published a press release on Wednesday detailing the president's approval of a major disaster declaration following the destruction that was wreaked by Hurricane Beryl.
Yeah, it goes on to say that a major disaster declaration is required before the government will grant FEMA aid to assist in covering these costs incurred by the state following any natural disasters like a hurricane, tornado, floods, any of that. According to FEMA, Texas has been given access to the federal assistance to help pay for hurricane damages between July 5th through the 9th. Yet, because the declaration ended July 9th, Texas will not be reimbursed for any expenses incurred after that date. So Dan Patrick posted on X on Thursday last week. He said Biden pulled the rug out from under the people of Texas and he lied to them. And additionally, this declaration only approved federal funding to cover expenses in 67 counties. But according to Dan Patrick, the president broke his promise to the acting governor on a phone call to administer aid to 121 counties. So, and this is what the people of Texas, especially the people in the South region, have been dealing with in the Houston area and all. They've been dealing with the fact that their power's been out. And it has been hot, man, down here. Even when the sun's not shining, that's when it's worse because the humidity just goes through the roof, and it's hot, man, and people are suffering. And Centerpoint has done the best that they could do with the people that they've had, you know, and that's what I tried to point out the other day, is you don't have a hurricane every day. So you don't need that amount of workforce every single day. So when this happens, you do kind of get caught with your pants down a little bit. You know what I mean?
You do.
But at the same time, I see where the pickle they're in is because they're sitting here expecting the FEMA aid and then find out they're not even going to get it 4 days later.
Well, and that would also help bring in other people from different states to help.
Yes.
And they would be able to pay them. And that was a lot of the problem. And what got me was this Sheila Lee, who thinks that, I don't know, she's like acting governor or something, you know, who writes a letter to the Honorable Merrick B. Garland. Are you kidding me? I mean, Patrick just got through telling you the day before that you wrote this letter that the Biden administration wasn't even working with him. So why would they work with you?
Notice the days. Notice the dates of the days that they said they would provide assistance relief to, and it ended on when? The 9th, which was what day? Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the day after the hurricane actually went through on Monday.
Exactly.
You know, so that's
what aid
ridiculous.
did they even give? Exactly.
One
That's
day.
correct.
That was it. Just one day.
Yep. So, yeah, but she wants to go on and do what? What the Democrats always do, which is weaponize the government. So she goes and writes a letter to Merrick Garland, and this is what she said in it. She said, "Dear Attorney General Garland, pursuant to your official authority, I am writing to request that the DOJ take immediate and appropriate action to conduct an investigation into CenterPoint Energy, a public utility company based in Houston, for their conduct regarding restoration of power to vulnerable residents, businesses, and government entities in the city of Houston and Harris County, Texas. And most pressing is the current failures of CenterPoint amid the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, a storm making landfall in Texas on Monday, July 8th, resulting in 11 deaths and power outages for over 2.7 million people along the Texas Gulf Coast, primarily in and around the Houston metropolitan area. Approximately 2.2 million of those who lost power were CenterPoint customers, making up to 80% of the electric utility customers in the Houston region." And she said, as of today, on Friday, July 12th, with the heat indexes reaching above 100 degrees this week, more than 1 million CenterPoint customers remain without power, shedding light again on CenterPoint's egregious and consistent service lapses that continue to endanger and threaten the lives of its customers. There's so much wrong with everything that she says here.
I mean, that's really all we need to read. Isn't that correct? Because Sheila Jackson Lee is just dogging people, and you know,
well, she's dogging CenterPoint when CenterPoint is under the assumption, based on the state's leadership, that was misled by President Biden, because President Biden goes, "Oh yeah, I'm going to give you FEMA assistance. We're going to give you FEMA assistance." And then you find out it was only from July the 5th through the 9th, when the hurricane didn't even hit till the 8th. But as they're preparing, because we've seen the trucks coming down, there was people from out of state. There were power companies coming to help.
That's exactly right. There was more people coming to help. You know,
but if there's not going to be any funding for them, then
Texas is going to have to foot the bill.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. Well, there was a Centerpoint CEO, Jason Wells. He defended its performance this week while conceding the company could communicate more effectively with customers. And what they're talking about with this, because we experienced the same thing through Encore, not Centerpoint, so I didn't want to put them in the crosshairs here. But Encore told us our electricity was on, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So they're getting texts saying, hey, your electricity's on, and then they're, people are going, what?
So, they were really making people mad.
Yes, that host system needs to be reworked or something. But they went on to say, I understand how frustrating it is to be without power, especially in this heat. I understand what a difficult situation this is for our customers, but I am proud of the progress we have made, Wells told the Chronicle on Thursday. Restoring 1.1 million customers within effectively 48 hours of the storm's passing is faster than what many of our peers have seen in the past 10 named storms.
Yeah, and that's the thing, guys, and we're not dogging Centerpoint either. I'm really not, because, like I said, you don't have a hurricane every day, so you don't need that manpower and workforce every single day. So to gather all of that together after a disaster like this is a hard task to pull off.
And if we don't have our FEMA, which we all work together when storms happen,
we have for a long time.
People have brought people from other states to help. And we saw a little bit, but there could have been a whole lot more down there helping out.
Yep, it requires funding.
It does. It requires funding. And also, I'm very happy to announce that Governor Greg Abbott is back in Texas. That's just awesome. I am glad to see him back.
I bet a lot of people didn't even know he was gone.
I know. We told you he was gone if you were listening, if our lovely listeners out there could have spread the word. But he was gone. And he's back, and he's not too happy about the way Centerpoint is being talked about right now. And he says, in recent days, linemen have been physically threatened, sometimes attacked, while doing their jobs to get power back on. There's no reason to ever threaten someone's life. Don't interfere with those working to restore power. You're slowing the process down.
That goes back to the frustration I was talking about with the phone calls and the text going, hey, your power's back on.
Yes.
When you're sitting there going, no, it's not. I can, after 4 to 5 days of that, I can understand people
they're angry.
Livid, but it doesn't excuse it. And he's correct, man. Don't jump on your lineman.
Yeah, it's not them. It's really not them.
Yeah. Or your post office worker or
anybody that's out there really just doing the best that they can in this crazy world we're living in.
Yep. Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. We couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
And we'll see you next time.
We're out.